What's going on, everybody? It's the SLEEZ to the Y to the E, the Sleaze boss, Sleezy E. And brother, I'm pounding them down here, drinking at Mo's podcast. Glad to be here, and I'm glad you're here as well.
This is Drinkin at Mo's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's all so mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Mo's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Mo's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Mo's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinkin' at Mo's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody, welcome. Drinkin' at Mo's. Big Mo here. You know the drill with YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff because, well, yeah, YouTube's algorithm, it's a pain. Most audio platforms too. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Today, I'm excited to have with me from Natural State Rasslin, Sleezy E. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm glad we finally caught each other on the stream. We'll be able to talk some shit, and hang out and have a good time. I appreciate you having me on, man. And you do some great work.
That means a lot. I really appreciate hearing that. You know what? Yeah, we're talk about Cena's heel turn. No, we're not gonna. Maybe a little bit, but we can because, man, that WWE hasn't made my jaw drop like that in a while.
100%.
That did it.
Yep. Well, I didn't actually watch the spot, the whole segment until like last night. I didn't watch the pay-per-view when it aired, and then I tried to watch most of it. Usually I watch all of them, but my wife's grandma's been sick, and so we were hanging around, and I couldn't watch it at the regularly scheduled broadcast. But then I watched it all the way up until the end, and like, there's no way I can look on the internet and not get the spot blown. But also, I'm a promoter, so like I have to get on the net. And then I said, no way. And then when you watch it, it's just a different ball game.
Yeah, I don't know what made my jaw drop more. Cena's heel turn or Cody Rhodes telling The Rock to go fuck himself.
That was the biggest pop for my wife, and honestly, that was a huge pop for me. I saw someone said that he dropped an F-bomb, but like, sometimes they'll do like a easy F-bomb, like a quick F-bomb, but that was a fuck,
That, or if they do let the person say it, they have it on like a little bit of a tape delay so they can bleep it. But man, no, they let that one freaking go.
Let it fly. I mean, it was a big moment, and if there was ever a time to slip one in without worrying about it, it would be then.
That it would be. But all right, before we go too deep down that whole rabbit hole, because Lord knows everybody's been talking that point.
How could they not be? How could they not be? And God, listen, I'm so excited to watch John Cena work a match as a heel. I cannot wait to see the way he implements things that way. Like that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. But we can move on because it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, like one final point on there. I get a laugh out of it because it's like, oh, really? You wait until his retirement year to finally do it.
The time is now. I don't know.
Ah, I get it.
So they've juiced and wrenched that wash rag out as much as they can. They said, "Here you go. Now you can be a heel for a little while since billions of dollars out of you."
Oh yeah. All right. Well, now that we've gone down that rabbit hole, to the question that I always ask everybody when they first come on, what got you started as a fan, and then what got you started making the leap into the business and leading into Natural State Rasslin?
Oh yeah, well, hey, the name says it all. I grew up here in the Natural State. Uh, grow, it wasn't the most poppin' scene around Arkansas. I don't think. I think we've always had a little bit here and there, but it's mainly been in like Northeast Arkansas because Memphis is over there, and we've always had those are little towns in Arkansas that would be on their little route.
That little loop.
The loop, yeah. Thank you very much. So there hasn't been a lot, and so but I grew up watching wrestling. I started like all of us, 4 or 5 years old, started watching it. I really wish I could remember the first thing that I saw, but
I can vaguely remember some of mine.
Like your very first time?
Well, I mean, not my very first, but like some of my first that
you can actually recall.
That I can actually recall, yeah.
What is that?
Well,
this is gonna age you.
Yeah, obviously. Hogan and Warrior, and then like the Legion of Doom. But then the one that really jumps out at me, and like I don't have too many memories of watching this guy because I mean everything that happened to him I was only, good Lord, I forget how old I was. Not very old, but Bruiser Brody and some of his entrances with the swinging the chain around and scaring the crap out of people.
For sure. Oh yeah. I mean, there. A lot of people they'll say like, oh, well, I've heard a lot of folks like, for my generation, it's more like, oh, well, I saw the Stone Cold or The Rock on TV, but then you got most wrestling fans. Hulkamania got them, especially those lifelong ones. Hulkamania got them, but anybody from any generation, if they saw Bruiser Brody scaring the shit out of people and stuff, they would be hooked. But I just remember watching wrestling whenever I was young, maybe 4 or 5, and then I went to an independent show whenever I was about 8 or 9, something like that, and that's the first time I ever saw wrestling that wasn't WWF or WCW. We watch more WCW down here, but Stone Cold was on WWF, and that was basically my father via television. But I started going there, and I said, "Oh, so more people do this. There's more to this, yada yada yada," and that made me look more into this. And around that time, the backyard wrestling tape started coming out. So there's just no way that you're not. And I didn't play sports, so you're just. I mean, that's what you're gonna do. And so, pretty much the place that I started going to, I met a lot of the guys that are like the vets now. They were younger then, and so I got plugged in with some of them. But I started filming videos whenever I was like 12. So I'd been going wrestling for 3 or 4 years. Figured out they're not gonna let me be a wrestler whenever I'm 11 years old. So I enjoyed the show Jackass a whole lot. So I can't wrestle in the ring, so I'm gonna start filming these Jackass videos. And then I had a camera. My sister and my cousin ended up stealing my grandpa's camera one night and ran down the road and was like, "Check this out, let's go do some Jackass stuff." And like that's all that just like either changed my life for the better or worse. I'm still trying to figure it out. And so I did stunts for a while, man, and then eventually, whenever I was about 18, I graduated. I started training, but then I quickly took a job as a referee, which is desperately needed. Like a good referee is desperately needed. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
And
it's been I've seen good and I've seen bad.
Oh, for sure. And most of them are bad. And sometimes when it comes down to it, a referee can just be a placeholder. Someone in a shirt that can count to 3, certain cases, but 99% of the time, a referee can make or break a match. And I spent years doing that. I announced. That's how my Sleezy E gimmick came about. I started announcing, and I had to think of a kind of a gimmick, and you take who you are and turn it up to 10. So that was my gimmick, and then I basically did that for about 10 years, and then finally, after forever, I started wrestling, and then after wrestling for 5 or 6 years, I started running my own shows, and I'm in my second year of like running shows. But Natural State Rasslin officially launched on January 1st. Before that, it was just Sleezy E Wrestling, Sleezy E Promotions, and now it's a whole thing.
Okay, I guess I had seen that, Natural State Rasslin, got its start, but you had been doing stuff. I've seen some of those, like some of the no ring, like
Oh,
hardcore style shows out.
mm-hmm.
I I've attended like one or two of those stylish shows, and oh boy, a light tube got used, and the end cap part flew off and about hit me in the foot.
You would have been sliced and diced, my man, just a little bit. Those tubes are no joke, and like literally, you see people eating all kinds of them. I took literally one tube in a no ring match, and it sliced me up. My whole back is fucking scarred. But we were also wrestling in a yard in the middle of August in Arkansas, and it was 101 degrees. So shit happened.
I was gonna say I don't have too much experience being in Arkansas, but the time frame that I was there for a little bit, yeah, it was around that time, and it's hot as
Thick.
hell.
It's thick. You just can't even breathe.
Oh god, hell, my first year in the Navy, most of it was down in Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, that whole area. Yeah, and let's just say, yeah, it got hot to the point and humid to where, like, yeah, if you want to lose weight, just go stand outside for a couple minutes.
That's it. You don't got you can stand in one place and just sweat your balls off.
Yep.
Yep, and then you get the mosquitoes out and stuff, and then they're gonna eat you alive, and it's just a mess.
Oh shit, I get you there. Now, all right. Natural State Rasslin. The debut show back in January. The debut for the promotion itself.
Mm-hmm.
So did that, you mentioned with the the last year or so Sleezy E promotions, and was that just kind of a natural thing where you were wanting to lead up to this, or like how did that come about?
Yeah, that's a damn good question. It started, number one, I wanted to just get no ring popping around here, and so I wasn't quite in the position. I didn't see it as like I'm starting a promotion. Like it's just I'm putting on a show. Either if we have one match or two matches or we have a full card or whatever. So and also like no one else was doing it, and the reason why I chose to do it was the reason why I chose eventually to change it, because at first it was pretty much me doing it myself. Like I was building it on my own back and shit like that. And that's just not very possible for a long time unless you're some kind of monster like Casanova Valentine or some of those guys. But like I did what I could, and like around the place that I was doing it, I had the name recognition. Like people knew that, like, oh, if Sleezy E is a part of it, like it's gonna be hardcore, like someone's gonna be bleeding or some shit, and yada yada yada. And so it was Sleezy Wrestling and Sleezy Promotions, kind of Sleaze Ball Promote. Now I kind of I still have Sleaze Ball Promotions. That's my vehicle outside of Natural State Wrestling, and that's what was kind of the most difficult thing for me whenever it came to making the decision on like pulling the trigger on like making my own thing. That's like I'm doing the stuff, but like I'm not the face. I'm not in the main event. Like this is just my dream booking, whatever. It's just the style of flavor of wrestling I wanted to put on. But then it became to a point to where like it's cool that I was able to kind of put it on my own back and do it like that, but there's just way more to it than that. And uh, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do, honestly. After the Rice Festival in October of 2024, that was my last like sleazeball promotion show or whatever. But I like I said, I grew up around all this shit, and so like I know all these different people, and they're all in all these different promotions. And with wrestling, it's kind of hard to have everybody get along. Let's just say that. And so, yeah, I found it very difficult to put the hat on and bring everybody up under one thing. And so I chose to continue with Sleazeball Promotions because even though I'm running my own stuff, I use that as a vehicle to promote every other fucking place like I've been doing, like whenever I was actively wrestling. So once I decided, well, I can use that to still help everybody out, and then I can do my own thing because there's no reason not to. And so I kind of took, because we had a good little video library. We had 6 or 7 shows we've done, no ring, few with rings and stuff like that. And so I launched it on January 1st, and our actual debut first Natural State Rasslin show will be in April, and that'll be a benefit. And so, and another thing that's kind of weird is, we're in the Bible Belt, so most wrestling isn't it's right on the line, it's very PG. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love going to the family friendly show with the old lady that's in the front row, fucking pissed, just giving it to everybody, showing everybody what needs to be done. Like, I'm so thankful for that type of thing. But, there are more adult type shows, especially when you get it like a rock band or if beer is served. If alcohol is served at any type of event in Arkansas, you cannot call it family friendly. You just can't do that. I think we can get away with all ages at this point, but like we're still going to be doing no ring stuff. Like we have a metal festival in May that we're doing like a no ring tournament. It'll be pretty sick. But like this benefit, it's going to be all ages. So we're playing both sides of the coin, but we're not going to pigeonhole ourselves into like not giving people a unique product.
Oh yeah, like that's the thing that I like about certain promotions when they do have a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah,
that I hear it often, the buffet style wrestling
for sure,
that
and
little bit of
that's
something
always
for
tickled my fancy.
Yeah, no, that because hell, one of the promotions that I've kind of frequented a little bit, they have a little bit of some. It's Sammy Callahan's promotion, Revolver.
Oh, with that, yeah, well, that's almost like their gimmick because I don't know if it's still like the whole card or the whole card changes every time still or whatever, but like that was a show, different talent, different types of matches every show. Like,
oh, it's
perfect.
still pretty much like that
That's sick.
Every show. Like I've seen shows where, good Lord, I think the first time I ever got to see a death match live was on a show where the match before it was a Monsters Ball match, and then the match after it was going to be the death match. And it was funny because, I mean, in some ways they're similar, but
Well, that's what's funny because most people would think like, well, what the fuck's the difference? But if someone does it right, it is blatantly different.
Oh yeah. And what happened was, I believe it was Jake Christ versus Joel Bateman, and
nice.
They were getting ready to clean up some of the debris from the match before, and Jake rolls in and is basically like, "Fuck that, leave it, let's go."
That's a hell of a guy.
Oh, I got nothing but love for Jake Christ, but the ending of that match, one of the crazier endings I've ever seen in any match, period. They took 4 folding chairs, bridged 2 panes of glass, and then lit the glass on fire.
Damn.
I was like,
that was your
I was
first,
like third row for that.
and that was your first death match in person.
Yep.
You're like, okay, I get it.
Oh, I was a deathmatch fan before that show ever happened.
Dog,
And
I love deathmatch, and I grew up watching it too. But until I watched one in person, it just changed. Especially like when Glass is brought in. I've watched some really hardcore matches in person, but until Glass and different types of weapons and stuff, like the death match, the things that I think Drake Younger says the difference between a hardcore and a death match is hardcore is like any other kind of weapon other than the once you bring into the things that puncture you, like thumbtacks or glass or barbed wire, that makes it a death match. So I've always thought that was a pretty good line.
Oh yeah, nope. And hell, before there is a match on this card, the benefit show in April, that it's making me think of some of this stuff. But I have had some luck in, having some of my favorite people on the deathmatch hardcore scene on.
I've saw that. I've saw it. You got some hell of a guests, man. I hate that you ran out of enough people to have the sleazeball on, but I'm thankful.
But no, like I remember, good Lord, who was the first? Alex Colon. That one was
wow. Toughest man walking.
Oh, dude. And I've gotten the pleasure to meet him a couple times at Revolver, actually. And I got to talking with him after the show, and he said that he was investing in some new kick pads, so he was selling off the old ones. I'm like, how much?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, make me an offer. I made him an offer, and now I got signed ringward kick pads of his.
That's fucking sick. I was peeping some of your stuff out back there. It looks like you already got a hell of a collection.
Oh, that I do. Up top you can't really see from here, but the whole top is lined with all my like autograph figures and stuff.
Nice.
And I got some from we're talking about death matches. Cruel. I got his MLW one signed.
Oh, that's sick as fuck.
I got a Jeff Cobb one.
Oh, that's what, dude. That's the suplex machine right there. That's the suplex doctor.
And then I got to meet one of the guys that was on my first ever pro wrestling show in general. Rikishi is Head Shrinker Fatu.
Oh, that's what's up.
But going back to death matches, I've had this guy on twice now. John Wayne Murdoch.
Oh, that's what's up. I've refereed a few of his matches and been around him a few times. Always a super cool guy.
Oh, yeah. And he gave me one of the hugest compliments I think I've gotten so far, that he said that he doesn't do too many podcasts anymore, but he'll do mine. And I'm like,
I was about to say, I don't think I've saw him on a lot of them.
He don't do too many anymore. And I think it was, I forget what happened, but somebody had posted something dealing with him and Reed Bentley, his often tag partner.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I was like, you know what? I had one of them on. I'd love to have them both. And before I knew it, I was getting the second recording scheduled for John Wayne Murdoch wanted to come on again. And then very shortly after, I had Reed Bentley on, and I ended up being able to release their episodes on the same week and called it the week of the rejects.
Oh, that's huge, dog. Hell of a compliment.
Oh, yeah. So I mentioned that there's a particular match that initially caught my eye when it came to this show, this benefit show in April and correct me if I'm wrong in pronouncing this, Searcy, Arkansas.
Say it again.
Did I say it right?
Say it again.
No, you're no.
That's the way everybody says it, dude. I just want to hear it again.
No.
You hear it, Searcy.
Yeah, that's
Searcy.
Searcy. Okay.
That's
Because
the hillbilly. That's the hillbilly. Listen, my wife is from Michigan, dude. So I'm married to a Yankee. So we're like, it's okay. I understand what our dialect does to people.
I mean, I have been told that uh, when I get really excited on something, that with the amount of time that I spent down there, that a little bit of it comes out,
It totally does.
and it's weird because I'm not always intending on it happening, but then I even had my one of my little nephews one time even poke at me about it, like, and I'm like, oh god,
Oh,
it happened
hillbilly
again.
ass. Yeah, yeah. It's
But
easy to do though. It's easy to do. Like I said, my wife is from Michigan, but like she's been here long enough to where like she still doesn't sound like a southerner. But
yeah,
like you said, like sometimes she'll get excited or like whenever she's really enthusiastic, she'll throw that twang on it. You just can't help it. It just makes stuff sound better.
oh yeah. But the match that I was thinking about, that when I saw the flyer for the event, I'm like, oh damn, Monsters Brawl Table match with the Draven, Morrow, and okay, Walker the
13.
13th. Okay, I wanted to make sure I was saying
Listen,
that
it
right.
took me a while. It took me a while. I was just gonna put the number, and then I said, "Oh, he's all classical and shit, and he has this whole retro monster thing going." And Draven Morrow's a monster as well, so it's it's gonna be interesting. And the thing is that I wasn't for sure that we was gonna be able to do this, but I'm 90% sure it's not only going to be a tables match, but a best 2 out of 3 tables match.
Ooh, you do not see that very often when it comes to table matches.
You don't. But somebody said, "Hey, I can hook you up with that many tables." And I said, "All right."
Hey,
So
hell, I mean, you could have it end pretty quickly on that if you pull a situation like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens did in that unsanctioned match. That
dog.
that double table spot.
Yeah, yeah, that was insane.
That
That
was
was insane. That I mean, that would be good to just pull out like that. That would be sharp.
though that. Okay, I have to say this because I talked about it with the friend of mine. That damn barbed wire chair. I'd never seen a barbed wire chair wrapped like that, to where the seat part actually came down and like that was
No,
wrapped in barbed wire by itself.
yeah, yeah, I've never saw that either.
That was something else.
That
But
was,
oh yeah,
I think that was a pretty good match. I
oh
thought,
totally.
yeah. I mean,
That,
and I'll even say to myself before I watch them wrestle, I'm like, how many times you guys gonna do this? And then I'm like, that was good.
yep, that was awesome. And okay, Pat McAfee on commentary when I forget who it was that hit the other with the garbage can, and he said, "Oh, you hit him with Dominic Mysterio."
I pop for that too. I pop for that. Big Dirty Dom fan over here. Love him.
You know what? He's growing on me. I used to shit on him all the time, but now, like, he's growing on me. And then I see his interactions with little kids. I'm like, okay, he ain't half bad.
No, yeah, he is, and honestly, he's came a long way, and I'm saying that as someone like he was over with me as soon as he started. I was like, I wasn't sold, and I said, after a few of his first matches, I said, no, he's got it. He's got a little ways to go, but I just thought of just the potential of his bloodline, if you will. But I would have never thought that he would be able to do the character work that he does.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Now, okay, I've seen, going back to this Monsters Brawl tables match, potentially 2 out of 3. I've seen, okay, I'm learning a little bit about new people here and there, even
Mm-hmm.
still. But so Walker the 13th, he's a new one I'm not as familiar with. Draven Morrow, I've seen some of his matches on YouTube, including some highlights on the Natural State Rasslin YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Now
he.
that guy's like, holy, all right.
Yeah, he's also with Memphis Wrestling under the. I don't know if it's. I think it's just Morrow now, but it's more of his original gimmick, which was Cataclysm. He has the mask. He's with the preacher guy on Memphis Wrestling.
Okay.
Not to just fucking blow his spot, but we all know who he is.
Yeah, it's not like we know, especially on independent levels, that people aren't multiple places.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will admit, I got my start watching independent wrestling relatively late. It wasn't until I was with the Navy in San Diego, actually.
Oh,
And,
nah.
and I would see people in one promotion being being a face, and then another promotion, they're a bad guy there. And I'm like, wait, this is confusing.
Yeah, well, you can't. I mean, if it's what you got to do, it's what you got to do. But the truth is, especially in like one city can have 4 or 5. Well, especially like even around here, you can't call it a city, but like a 45-mile radius, like they have 3 or 4 different wrestling promotions, and now they're running in Little Rock in the capital. So there's at least 4 or 5. But like, if it's one of those shows where most likely it's the same people from the other shows coming to watch it, you gotta have some continuity, or you really need to you need to be able to do your exact same gimmick, baby, our face. And then, I mean, if you're going to do it, you need to have a blatant storyline why you're an asshole when you come over to this place. I don't know, though. But yeah, that is confusing as fuck.
Yeah, I got a little confused there at the start, but hey, it happens. Now, okay, me, I've mentioned it being a fan of the hardcore deathmatch style. Not only is there the Monsters Brawl Tables match, there's also a Falls Count Anywhere women's match on that card.
Triple.
Now, triple threat even. That is something because, okay, I I've not been able to have as many women's wrestlers on the show as I might like. I've had some great ones,
Mm-hmm.
but I like. There's lots of great female talent out there, female identifying talent out there that they deserve some shine there. Now, so triple threat even on top of a false count anywhere, that's going to be wild.
Yeah, when see, like we're lucky to even have, because the pool is pretty shallow when it comes to ladies wrestling around here. We have way more, but like we're lucky if we even have a ladies match. But I if you're gonna have it, it's always just a regular. They're gonna just go out and do a match, whatever. Maybe that you have them there long enough to where you can build a little story. But I wanted to be like, ladies, you can go out there and just act a fool, like because one of my favorite wrestlers is Mickey Knuckles, and she's a nut, and I just think that women's wrestling can be a lot more than just trying to be the pretty technical boys style of wrestling, like
Oh yeah.
just give them room to do something different. And so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be the semi main, and we got a tag team gauntlet match, and we got main event Bradley on the card. He's on Memphis Wrestling. That's literally like my best friend. Love him to death, even though when we get around the ring together, we don't get along as well. But outside of things, we have a good time. Some stuff helps us see clearly. But and then yeah, so we got a pretty good card. I think it's only going to be like 5 matches, but it's a benefit for Arkansas community advocates, and they're a nonprofit out of Little Rock that helps people with food, hygiene, clothing, educational, all the stuff. And there's a lot of really good nonprofits here in Searcy, but this is a nonprofit that I see they do a lot of on the streets helping people, and hey, you don't even have to have an ID to get services. And I've worked in nonprofits, and brother, we need your ID, and like we don't. I mean, if you ain't working, if you are working, pay stubs or some kind of identification, like you have to jump through a few hoops, but they don't do that. They just give services straight to the people. And I said, that's who I want to be able to try
Oh,
and help.
oh,
So
totally. That is something great because sometimes when you're in a spot where you might need help from a place like that, sometimes that stuff, identification can be a little harder to come by, you know,
yeah.
especially if, for like a pay stub or something. If you're in a spot where you're needing help like that, sometimes you don't even have that.
Oh, dog, if you listen, let's say there's so many people. There's so many people at the a few of the nonprofits that we worked at that even if you just needed an ID, like commodities for just one of the quarterly food drives, I think all you had to have was an ID. But let's say you lost your ID because shit, you lost your wallet. Anything can happen. Anything
Yeah.
can happen. You lose your shit, but you don't have a birth certificate. I mean, a lot of people don't have their birth certificate. You have to have two or three different things to even get an ID. And so even to get that ID, you have to get two or three different things, and without like it's a difficult, man, even something like that. And so it's just the name of the game.
Yeah, and I saw with you know the price of admission to get in, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw that there was like a little bit of a discount on the tickets, like bringing in items for it.
Absolutely, with $10 to come in, because money talks, money talks. So money's good, especially whenever the way they're doing it, they don't have as much funding as some of the others do, because they are just giving the services to people that may not usually be able to get it. But yeah, the $10, the money's cool. But also, if you just got $5, you can bring three items. You can go to the Dollar Tree, get a can of food, some shampoo, grab some socks or underwear or whatever, just whatever. And so three donated items, $5, and it goes straight to the people, straight to the people. And one of the things, whenever I was deciding to kind of launch the whole Natural State Wrestling thing, was, damn, I don't know if I want to take on this stress to do all this stuff. And because I mean, you can ask anybody, running a show is a big pain in the ass. Now it is a pain in the ass, but I'm a sick bastard and I love promoting, and I've always been that way. And so like, this is kind of what I've always been working for. And so I didn't really want to keep doing it because it is a big pain in the ass, and also money's funny. And I said, well, if you're going to do it, at least half of your shows, we're going to have to be doing some benefits, because we work like a full-time job and we would love to volunteer more, but it's just kind of hard to get out, especially whenever most volunteer opportunities are during the week. But
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm going to put some time and effort into, if we're going to be doing these shows, we're going to help some people out, and we're going to make sure it's that type of environment where that's what's going on, that's what's up.
That is awesome because I know. I mean, I'm not as familiar with some of the independent scene down in Arkansas, but it doesn't really seem to get the shine outside of that area that, I mean, besides, I know up towards, Little Rock will get, like you already mentioned, and then, they get the loops for, WWE coming in and all that. So there's some areas of Arkansas that I'm not as familiar with how independent shows work down there. So for somebody to come in and be able to, put together something for a good cause like this, it's a good thing.
Thank you very much, man, and I appreciate it. And like that's the thing that gets my rocks off. But also having some crazy people willing to bleed gets my rocks off. So hey, we're gonna be having fun in both aspects. And it's the thing with the Arkansas wrestling scene is folks don't know it yet, but it's kind of on a boom. We got rid of the athletic commission, and so now it's grown exponentially thanks to Rock and Rick. He hooked it up. He literally went to the Capitol and said, "Listen, this is entertainment, and you're really fucking my game up," you know. And so they took it off of there. But we have over the past 5 years, wrestling in Little Rock's really popped off. There's TAC wrestling. Sir Mo has a bunch of promotions. He has like Bumps and Bruises. He works with a guy named Jason Maldonado. And they have Chaotic Kingdom Wrestling and Sword Wrestling. They have a whole conglomerate, the OIWA, maybe. I think that's their name. But they have a whole thing that runs there. I run some of my no ring stuff in Little Rock. So Little Rock's popping off. And then Northeast Arkansas, there's still a good amount of those. But Northwest Arkansas is finally popping off some. They got Diamond State Wrestling, and
I've heard of that one.
Oh, they're the real deal. They're legit. They got a hell of a team, and then there's a Mutiny Wrestling Federation. I think they're more in Northwest Arkansas. Both of them have like a very, very professional product, but it's popping off. And if people could just see, like, especially the talent that I love the talent growing up, just seeing whatever I saw. But like now, it's a whole new generation, and we still have some of the vets, but we have there's a crop, tons of crops just coming up all over. And then we got Memphis wrestling, and you might as well call it Arkansas wrestling for the most part. That's a little joke because 75% of the people, those are Arkansas wrestlers. You know, you got a lot of the Memphis guys, and then you got all the people that they bring in, but most of their workers are from Arkansas. And so, like, if they're using all that talent and all these shows are popping up, there's something to it. There's something to it. And like, I'm the alternative to the alternative to the alternative. So, like, you know,
I get it.
But there's plenty, man. There's plenty of wrestling to go around here, and like I just couldn't imagine doing it and not being able to like help everybody out unless like you're just a total piece of shit. And once I figure that out, peace out. But like for the most part, I don't care if so and so doesn't like so and so or this and that. Like I'm not getting rich, but I am putting a lot of my time into this. I'm never really going to make money from it. As long as I can break even and not lose my ass, I'll be okay. But if I'm putting all this time into it, we're not going to throw wrenches.
Oh yeah, and hell, the more there is out there, you know, the quality stuff out there, because Lord knows there's stuff out there that probably shouldn't be, but we won't go there. But
oh yeah, there's always going to be that.
Oh yeah, but the more quality places are out there, the more opportunities for everybody.
Yep, that's all that matters. And listen, this may not be like a show of Arkansas wrestling being something, but Juggalo Championship Wrestling came to Little Rock twice just this past year, and now GCW's coming to Little Rock. So like, I feel like they know that there's some type of market for wrestling in Little Rock, and before nobody, and I mean nobody, was coming to Little Rock, Arkansas to plan a wrestling show, especially not like a indie wrestling show.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, he brought up GCW. Okay, before we get into my category to round stuff off here, I believe it was their Hammerstein show, their recent one, where Brett Lauderdale made the comment that they're making the attempt to have at least a GCW show, at least one in every state.
Oh yeah, they're even doing like Alaska.
Yeah, and here, so the thing with that, they're coming so far. The closest they've came that's actually in the future on the schedule is Kansas City, which is like two and a half hours from me, so it's like it's doable.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't done Nebraska yet. And Brett Lauderdale did like a tweet of mine one time not too long ago where they were talking about, new places. I'm like, I'm going to say Nebraska again. And yes, that partially because I live there.
100%. Well, dog, the place they're coming to is called the Hall, and it's an awesome venue. And literally a year ago, I was in talks with the folks there because I was scheming not even for myself. I said, man, if I could just see if they would be interested in running a show, maybe like GCW or one of those big places would want to come. And I talked to them, and they was cool, and I couldn't get through to anybody really per se, which is understandable. But like manifest destiny. Like I was scheming on this shit like a year ago, and folks are really stoked, and I think it's a good thing for the whole wrestling ecosystem.
Oh yeah, and hell, I've had some great people on that have gone through the doors at GCW, so to be able to have them a little closer to me would be pretty nice. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It'll happen sooner than later.
I'm hoping. So, all right. I have some random questions here. Some wrestling related, some not. I give you the question. First answer that pops into your head.
Nice.
Right. So, first one, craziest in-match moment for you.
Whenever I was on my ass in Memphis in the high tone, bleeding profusely with Madman Pondo holding his pocket knife, just going at my forehead, and I could just feel blood dripping onto my chest and everything. And that was just that whole match was out of body for me.
I can imagine. I know. Hell, Madman Pondo, a past guest of mine.
Yeah, one of the coolest, nicest dudes of all time.
Oh, totally. I got nothing but great things to say about him. He gave me one of the crazier intros I've ever had anybody ever do.
Well, he'll mouth off with some wild shit, man.
Oh, I think he mentioned something about somebody not watching the show. He ripped their larynx out. He's not like, dude.
He couldn't be a nicer guy, but just slightly sadistic.
Oh yeah.
With Pondo, I met him 3 times. The first time I met him at Strictly Insane Wrestling, and I was taking photographs, and then I refereed a match of his and Atticus Koger at Anna Fight Underground, and then I got skewered by Atticus in that match. That was pretty. Their whole gimmick that match was about the skewers, and I was like, please God, someone skewer me. And then it ended up happening. But then the third time I met Pondo, I got to wrestle him in Memphis. So that
nice.
Was a trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. I got nothing but great things to say about him. My other, going off of intros, my other favorite intro anybody ever did for me was Famous B from, SoCal, but on the Lucha Underground.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And, he had the whole thing about there's 3 numbers. So 4, 2, 3, get fame. Like a cheesy car salesman sort of.
I love it.
And I'm like, before we started, I didn't say anything, but I'm like, man, in my head thinking, man, that would be sweet if he did that for the intro. And then without me saying anything, he did that. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, he fucking did. I'm struggling at that point not to visibly fanboy out. Like, oh my God, he did it.
Just playing it cool.
Yeah. That was pretty wild.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, yeah. So, I know my answer for this, but the first ever pay-per-view PLE, whatever the hell you want to call it anymore, that
Right.
you watched live as it was happening?
Dog, you know, I think the only one that I ever watched, and I don't remember much about it other than one moment because most people, it's the most memorable moment, even though it was a great, great PPV. But I really didn't watch too many pay-per-views live until the network came out. It's unfortunate we didn't have. Now
Same.
I watch some on like tapes and shit like that. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but like live, I think we watched the Royal Rumble 2000. Me and my cousins. I think my Uncle Scott got it for me and my cousin Jacob, and then things just went awry whenever Mae Young pulled her titties out. They said, "Y'all bought this?" Hell yeah, tell the show.
Oh man, me.
What was your first one?
Because much like you growing up, I didn't really ever get to buy them, so it was always, the video rental stores that I go and see them at. But the first one live was actually WrestleMania 20.
That's what's up. That was a legendary. I did have that one on DVD. I got that one at Best Buy. I went all the way to Jonesboro for that.
Same. I have that. I have my own little mini network of WWE, some TNA, some independent stuff. This binder full of DVDs, including I think one of the first ever independent shows I ever went to. I actually got the DVD of it.
Oh, did you buy it while you were there, or did you buy it afterwards? Or well, obviously afterwards because they don't got it fucking for sale while it's happening.
Yeah, it was sometime after when they actually got it made. But yeah, as soon as I saw that they had it made, I'm like, mine.
100%, 100%.
Oh yeah, heck, one of the guys I'm still wanting to have him on, but man, he's a pretty busy dude running Santino Brothers out in.
Damn, yeah, that is a hell of an education going there, dude.
Oh yeah, the guy running it, Joey Chaos.
Yeah,
he was in my second ever independent show.
That's awesome.
Met him there, and so like I'm wanting to have him on. He said he's willing, but running Santino's and everything, he's a pretty busy dude.
Understandable.
All right, but yeah, WrestleMania 20, first one I ever got to watch live.
I have that on VHS. I think that's one of them that I have.
So yeah, that was okay. I got to say this because I don't know. I never really heard anybody else that has noticed this about that show. But the Kane Undertaker match, when Undertaker came out, it was right after, Undertaker's return after the Buried Alive match that Kane helped, I believe, McMahon win or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when Undertaker made his entrance, I could have sworn that I saw dirt on the Undertaker.
You're gonna have to go back and check that out.
I'm gonna have to go back and like try to confirm it for myself, but I remember watching it and thinking like, wait a minute.
They can't take a wet wipe that motherfucker or something.
But thinking, holy crap, like a little detail like that of like, holy shit, he's walking straight out of the grave and into the ring to like, oh god. Like the little detail, the storytelling little detail in that just got me.
Oh yeah. Well, whenever I figured out Kane and Undertaker wasn't real brothers, that was a pretty good thing for me.
Yeah.
They're the same size. How could they not be brothers?
Yeah, very.
Their family burnt up.
Yeah. It was like finding the two very similar size, and it's like, man, it'd be doable. I mean, it could be, believable.
Yeah, people will buy that, right?
All right. Now, next question I have here. It always seems to come up when there's a big lottery jackpot and I always hear somebody say, "Oh, you'd never be able to spend that much money." And be like, "Oh, so have what I like to call fuck it money," and be like,
Oh,
"I've never been able to afford that, but I can now."
yes.
So, what would be one of the first things you'd get if you had fuck it money?
I'd buy a house. I mean,
Sensible choice.
I mean, unless someone already owns a house, I feel like even if someone has a pretty nice house for a regular type of American or in anywhere, if you end up getting that fuck it money, they're gonna still buy like a new house. They're gonna get a bigger house or this or that. Now, if I just had fuck it money, just irresponsibly,
Yeah.
that's a different question. Oh man, I'd definitely buy myself a wrestling ring.
Mm,
Man, that would I definitely because I rent a ring now still, but
mm.
that's a dream right there is to own my own wrestling ring. That's like
Oh,
that's the end goal right there.
I got you. All
Mm-hmm.
right. All right. So, with the name of the show like I feel like I have to ask this question.
Okay.
Favorite drink, alcoholic or otherwise? Because I've had plenty of people on that for one reason or another don't drink. So I'm like, just because it says Drinkin atmos doesn't mean that it has to be alcoholic. That's what
I saw. You're drinking a Doctor DP, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, the DDP, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
diet. Yep.
Nice. Yeah. See, I saw that and I said, you know what? That's okay. Because there was a small part of me that was whenever I was thinking about this, I said, man, I gotta have like a brewski or something. But like I usually don't have anything around. Like right now, I got some Mountain Valley straight out of Hot Springs, Arkansas, right there. So, dude, I've always been a beer drinker,
Mm.
but I'm getting kind of old, and I've gotten to like red wine. So if I can drink anything, if it comes to some alcohol, if I could have 2 bottles of Pinot Noir, I'll be doing just fine.
All
But
right.
I love a good draft. My favorite beer was I mean I can't really drink it now because it just feels like someone whooped my ass the next day, and was cool for a long time and said, oh yeah, I don't know why people say that, but the Budweiser, the Steve
Mm.
Weisers, I love that. And,
Oh, speaking of him, he has one of my favorite beers. I actually saved the last can
oh
before I
yeah,
get more. The
oh for
American
sure.
Lager.
Yeah, my wife got me a 4 pack. They don't sell them in Arkansas, but somehow she found this website and ordered 4 of them, and I had them and wait, bro, they're delicious.
I was up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, going to a Packer game, and they happened to have a grocery store right near where my dad and I were staying, and I got the last 4 pack.
Oh, that's awesome. I figured it was a short supply, even if they do have them. I think the
Oh yeah,
closest to here was like Paducah, Kentucky. I remember seeing that they had some of those over there, but
yeah. I
nowhere around here.
I think closest to me is Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh come on. So I need to get down there sometime. I do have in-laws down there, so it is doable.
It is. It's possible. It's definitely possible. What's
Although,
your favorite drink?
oh, well, I mean that is one of them. Non-alcoholic Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, we're a
Although
Dr. Pepper family here too.
my other favorite beer, Kona Big Wave.
I've saw those. I've never had one.
One of my between that because that freaking delicious. That or Coors Banquet.
Ooh, those are tasty. Those
Oh, yeah,
are
they're
tasty.
pretty damn tasty. But okay. Before we go on to the last question, I got it because I actually just made the joke the other day. Watching Raw and the commercials for Hogan's beer, and I'm like, I have not heard one good thing about it. I've
Yeah.
not heard one good thing. So I made the joke. that real American beer gives me the vibe of that beer the old guys always would say tasted like horse piss just to get the kids from to not ask them to try it, but then it actually does taste like horse piss.
Yes, it is a I don't know.
I've yet to have it.
No, I definitely have it. I was trying to think of like one of those old school. Maybe I hate to say it, but and I like Bush Light, but like Bush Heavy, I don't know. It's not the best. And any of the ice beers are pretty rough. All due respect, I have plenty of friends and family members that are totally okay with them, but it's a little too much. But I haven't had it. But the Hulkster fucking came through Arkansas and came to a few liquor stores. He's
Here.
hitting all 50 states, bro.
Same here. I didn't go to any of them, but
No, definitely not.
but I did see some pictures of people that working for independent promotions, and oh, we got to go get a picture with the Hulkster, but then one of them, you could just see the look on his face is like, I do not want to be here.
How could he? How could he? I mean, at this point, it's his livelihood, especially now that his whole lost some of it. Some of his fan base, they're not too happy with him. But that beer is what's holding Hulk Hogan together, and so something must really be in it for him to be hitting all these towns like this. I'm sure it's fun and cool for him, but like that's got to be tough.
Yeah, no, I can agree there. All right, now last question: best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
We'll do a two-parter, but you got to do the first part before you do the second part. If you're just getting in, it's good to ask questions. But the truth is, your best bet is keeping your mouth shut and your ears open. If you're in any kind of opportunity, that doesn't mean that like who you are, what you bring to the table isn't important. I mean, maybe you're smart as fuck and you know more than this person, but like there's levels to this shit. And so pay your dues and when we're getting into the second part, this is when you're also going to have to understand you may be given a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice towards it, but don't allow wrestling to in any way fuck with your personal life. And if you're able to do that, that means you're already a pretty manageable, decent person, but also you're going to have to stand up for yourself. And also, it's good to listen. And there are people, everybody has an opinion, just like everybody has an asshole. But anytime someone's giving you constructive criticism that's putting you down, there's a way to do constructive criticism when someone completely shits the bed without putting them down. Because you can just say the truth. I mean, if the truth hurts you, that's the seat that you're in, and you just got to figure that out yourself. But play to your strengths, hide your weaknesses, because not all of us can do everything. There's like tons of shit that I could never do on my best day, but I know what I can do. I can bump, I can talk shit, and I made a whole gimmick out of it, and then I learned just a few things along the way. And then when it comes down to it, if you're able to do those things and you have a platform to stand on, you know what you're doing, you have a bag of material, if you will. If you have all that together, you got your goods up under you, you're never gonna stop paying dues. You're never gonna stop sacrificing, and it's part of it. And you're never gonna come out on top.
Oh yeah.
But when you're
wrestling is an ever evolving process.
Oh, never. And then the longer you're in it, it's just like you just go on down, and you just have to accept that. But if you keep that same mentality, I mean, you'll be just fine, and you just got to know what you bring to the table, but also don't let someone else tell you what you can and can't. If you know that you can do it, that's number one. If you
Oh
think
yeah.
you can do it, go for it. And if you go out there and fail, go back to the
No,
drawing board.
not to do it again.
Yeah. Don't do it again. Figure some shit out. Maybe come back to the drawing board. And but if that is what you want to do, we're all gonna. Dude, I sucked at refereeing the first 4 years I did it, and I really thought I knew a lot about wrestling. And so, nah, man. If you get your feet up under you, just believe in yourself. There you go.
All right.
You don't need to be asking me about like that type of shit. I'll fuck. That's not me. We're trying to end it right now, and that's not. We'll do a sleazy E fucking motivational talk episode some other time.
Yeah, get going on some like DDP yoga motivational stuff.
For sure, DDP changed my life.
Oh hell, he's built what he did there. So hey,
For sure, that's his legacy.
oh for sure. All right. So before I let you go, where can people find you in Natural State Rasslin, social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on all of it, they can go ahead and get them there.
Well, before I do that, before I get into the shameless plug part of this whole thing, I want to appreciate you for having me on, man. I appreciate you for your time. Sorry for my tardiness.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll do it again. I've had a good time with you, man. You're a great interviewer. You're very very kind individual, and I appreciate your time and appreciate you letting me get on your platform and talk about the stupid shit that I'm doing. But anyway, so you can find me SLEEZYE. You can find me Sleezy E Wrestling on Instagram. I also have a YouTube page. I think it's the fucking Sleezy E Wrestling Network, some shit like that. I'm still trying to figure out a whole name for that. But with Natural State Rasslin, and it's RASSLIN, Rasslin. That's the way we down here, Natural State Rasslin. So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have a link tree, basically everything right there / Natural State Rasslin. If you can, subscribe to our YouTube page. Got all kinds of shit going up there every day, and I think we got 6 or 7 shows planned for the rest of this year, and hoping to do some different types of shit, man. Yeah, so just
Awesome.
wrestling, Sleezy E, SLEEZ, the YZ. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, we will definitely have you on again. You're welcome back anytime. We'll be sure to get all of that in the description. But yeah, again, thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing how this show on April 5th goes.
See, that's what we need to do. We'll check back in. I'll tell you about how wild the show is, and I'll have some clips for you. I'm treating it like a TV day, so we're doing backstage segments and all kinds of shit,
Nice.
taking it up a notch.
Oh yeah! All right. See now, here I go with the goddamn.